European countries are expecting a record number of tourists, many of them from here, the United States. A lot of Americans. Well, last year, Spain and France were the two most visited countries. Spain had 85 million foreign visitors, while France had 100 million people who visit. Now, the high number of tourists can be great for the local economy, but it's taking a toll on European citizens. NewsNation's Alicia Nieves is here with more on just how frustrated some Europeans are. Good morning, Alicia.
Good morning. I find this story fascinating.
So do I.
The video we're going to show in a second, equally fascinating. But basically, locals in these European countries and cities, to them, more tourism means traffic congestion, long lines at beloved restaurants, and what we all hate, right? Higher prices across the board. Some of these European residents have essentially had enough, and they're saying enough is enough. To the extent that recently, thousands of protesters in Barcelona took to the streets to express their anger, urging tourists to go home. Hena, this got pretty ugly. They were throwing things at tourists, spraying them with water guns. Some protesters even held up banners demanding that city officials decrease tourists now. But the reality here is that when you look at the whole picture, there are some benefits to this tourism, in addition to the cons that are angering residents. For example, according to Barcelona City Council, last year, the city accommodated more than 4 million visitors, and the number of hotels built in the city has skyrocketed in recent years, giving the city an economic boost. However, on the other side, this has also resulted in many residents, locals, not being able to afford to live in their city anymore. Barcelona's mayor says rents have increased almost 70% in the past decade, something obviously the residents are not used to. And adding another layer here, the city also feels the impacts on its cruise ports. Day trippers visit the city by the thousands. They also see 2 million passengers processed at cruise ports just last year alone. Travel expert Francesca Page says while Barcelona may be getting the brunt of visitors now, other cities may soon see a similar kind of influx of tourists.
I think there's always going to be a shift in tourism destinations. People are very territorial of where they live in Europe, that I will say, but they do feed off, the economy does feed off tourism. So in my opinion, I think there'll be other places that will turn up, come up, be discovered, who equally need the economic benefit.
So it's a bit of a hard line for residents to walk, right? Because they need the tourism money to help their economy, but also, like all of us, want to be able to afford living in their homes, Hena.
So, Alicia, when people do want to visit, how do we go, but we're respectful to the people who live there, the citizens of these countries?
All right, Hena, I know you like to go to Europe. I do, too. It's the first question that I kind of thought of, right? None of us want to be that annoying American tourist. Here's some advice that we have for people traveling abroad or thinking about traveling abroad. First, keep tipping. And I know you're told when you go to Europe, or you may already know, it's not a part of the culture there. You don't have to tip because most locals don't. But this may be a little bit of a peace offering here, if you will, right? You don't have to tip as much as we kind of do here in the States, but even a few euros, that could go a long way. Be patient. Respect the slower pace in Europe. There's a huge cultural difference there. And then learn the basics of the language. No one is going to expect you as a tourist to know the language fluently, but learn, saying hello, bonjour in France, right? Please and thank you. Something like, can I get the bill? That's going to go a long way as well. And then be on time. If you are going on tour with a group and you're late, just know ahead of time, most times you're not going to see them wait. That's, again, not part of the culture there. And while we all want to go to Barcelona or Paris or Florence or Venice, whatever your favorite city is, there are plenty of undiscovered destinations that'll give you that European flair without all the long lines.
So many incredible European cities to explore. Even if you have to rent a car and drive, for example, instead of Barcelona, check out Seville or Oviedo. Similarly, if you're looking to hit major spots like Rome or Paris, you can opt for gorgeous places like I've been, Normandy or Tuscany or places like that, that may be less populated and less difficult to navigate.
All right, and finally here, experts suggest that if you're planning to go on a European vacation, consider going in the spring, fall, or the winter when the roads are kind of less traveled and, may I add, cheaper, usually at that time.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.